So it's been a long but sunny day of art and culture soaking up the atmosphere here in Venezia. And we had a lovely lunch earlier, and as your Food Diwata and food correspondent for SABADO Nights with Stiff Blue. And today at the Venice Biennale, your art correspondent, I just wanted to say thank you for joining us here in beautiful Venezia. So we're here at the site of the Venice Biennale, Arsenale Giardini. I'm just going to check with the information desk where we can start, because it's it's a massive show. There's lots to see from almost every country in the world. But of course, I am here specifically to see our Philippine pavilion. Very excited about that. So according to my research, the title Milk of Dreams, the name of this particular biennale, it's named after a work by one of my favorite artists, actually. So I'm looking forward to that and how it all ties in with our pavilion. That's it. The name of the artist, Leonora Carrington. Okay, so I've confirmed that we are here at the Arsenale site and the Philippine Pavilion is here. They're very friendly, so I asked them, it's just right there, the entrance. And the tickets I bought online. I used my debit card. You can use a credit card. And it's only 25 euros per adult. I would say it's well worth it. Since we're here in Venice, we might as well. But here, have a look, see? That's our ticket. We just have to show it at the entrance. This is your ticket in. Wonderful. This is the beginning. Well, come join me for the tour, won't you? So just an example, starting point, here in Arsenale, you will have artworks coming from different countries, and you can have guided tours. Actually, you'll have a lot of school groups coming here to learn about the art, and it's a very global setting. So we get to see what artists from all over the world are doing. Well, every country has its own flavor. For certain, I'm very excited to see what we're doing at the Philippine Pavilion. When we get to the Philippine Pavilion, I'll tell you a little bit more about the process of joining the Biennale, because there are ways that you have to, in your own country, there's a judging panel. You can submit a proposal if you want to present at the pavilion. And once you're a part of it, you can present works in every kind of medium. Whatever you feel best expresses your work, whether it is 2D visuals like drawings, illustrations, painting, or 3D sculpture, installation work. And the Venice Biennale is the perfect platform for large installation work. Venice Biennale this year, the theme, the title of the Venice Biennale this year is called The Milk of Dreams, and most likely you would have to follow your own presentation. The pavilion would have to follow maybe along those lines. Like I said, I will explain a little bit more when we reach the Philippine Pavilion. Okay, now here we are in the room with French artists, and this is Marguerite Humo, and she is a French artist who works with botanical themes. I love her massive sculptures that, well, they don't quite evoke flowers per se in a realistic way, but the way that she does her abstractions, it's very sensual. This has to be one of the more interesting installations. I can only imagine the effort that the artists and the curators put into this. Just that, like entering another room. And the sound plays as much as an important sensory experience. I admit that walking through Arsenale, it's been a bit of an overload, a sensory overload. But I'm rather liking this one. Unsettling. The music plays a big part in that. Just like you imagine if it were a silent film, right? You wouldn't feel anything, but the music adds to the feeling of, I think, the disturbed feeling of being unsettled and the tension. I'm really enjoying this one. It's surreal in a really good way, and I love the use of actual plants and soil. I can see some flowers here and there. And just like in a silent film, how sound and music plays a very important role in film. Without the sound of the music, you wouldn't really feel anything, but it helps build up that feeling of tension, dread, of whatever it is you're feeling, like you're walking through a dark forest and you don't know what you're going to bump into. Okay, so I've yet to find out who the artist who did this or the country that did this installation, but I am keen to find out because, again, walking through this dark forest, this man-made forest, and suddenly you bump into these unreal creatures just popping out. It's like, you know, an encounter with spirits, which I think which actually resonates with Filipinos, because, you know, our culture is a mix of religion, our Roman Catholic upbringing, and the more pagan, animistic beliefs that we have. So this definitely resonates. I enjoyed that one. That was great. So she's a London-based artist, Precious. Now, what I'd like to know is where is the... We found it. Good job, baby. So here we are at the Philippine Pavilion. Philippines. So I believe the entrance is here. Come on, let's go check it out. So this is the Philippine Pavilion. Andita ko ay sana, anita ko ay di sana. All of us present, this is our gathering. So, from what I was reading about the Philippine Pavilion, it's about community. It's about all the different languages and dialects that we have in the Philippines coming together. And this is how we presented it. Upon reading the description of this particular exhibition for our Philippine Pavilion, I'm intrigued by the use of sound. And when you enter the pavilion, you have this video installation showing person writing and making patterns on the wall on glass with his tongue. So with that, I think it alludes to how Filipinos, we have many tongues, more than just Tagalog. We speak in many languages. And we're not just talking about linguistics, we're also talking about the language that is interwoven, quite literally interwoven in our textiles. So the indigenous weavers, the curators and makers of this particular exhibition were inspired by the weaves. And within these weaves are a language, are passed down the tradition of many of these indigenous peoples. So it's as if the weaves are speaking to us across generations about the culture, about community, and this is where it all comes together. So it's not just about the sound and the music, but it's also about, I suppose, the hidden languages, again, that are transmitted beyond time. And as part of, again, the very important oral tradition, because a lot of it wasn't written down. And Filipinos are musicians. We pass down our traditions through song. It's very important. Music is a very important thing for us. And here, you know, this is like our culture woven into the textiles. Pavilion, and I like how they've taken ceramics to an entirely new level. Normally you would think of pottery, you know, ceramics, oh, you know, not very interesting, little dull and boring, but here they've taken it to, elevated it to rather new heights. The Lebanese Pavilion. I'm sorry I haven't been able to cover or mention every single country. But for certain, should you have more time, and unfortunately Steph and I do have limited time here. Okay, so we just came from the Lebanese Pavilion. Now we're in the Ireland Pavilion. I must apologize. I've not been able to cite every single country and to talk about their art in detail, but no matter. I think, well, art being what it is, it's a matter of preference, taste, subjective. So, you'll stop somewhere, you'll see something that intrigues you, that captures you right away, that enchants you. And I've seen a few that I really like. Of course, definitely didn't want to see the Philippine Pavilion because it's from our home country, and I am loving the theme this year. I hope I get to see it more, but Arsenale is massive. You definitely need to. I recommend you take time to come here and spend time at the shows because, like I said, you will see work that perhaps will enchant you, perhaps not. But again, just enjoy the experience while it's here because a lot of work, everyone, all the artists, the curators, the people working behind the scenes have gone through so much effort to put together such a beautiful show. I highly recommend it. Before we end the day, I'd like to end it with this installation called The Teaching Tree by a Saudi Arabian artist, Muhammad Shono. So it's a singular large-scale installation crafted by hand, covered in dried and painted palm fronds with a robotic mechanism. Interesting, so it's an interesting hybrid of the organic and the man-made. And that smell, you can smell the palm fronds. It's really atmospheric. So again, it's a complete sensory experience. Look at this behemoth. San Marco. Very reminiscent of Matisse and the paper cuttings that he did later on in life. When he was losing his vision, he resorted to paper cutting so that he could continue with his art. Like musicians, artists continue. They continue until they have no more art left in them. Witty. I'm not sure what that's about, but it's very witty. Ciao. So, after having a Prosecco at the Bombard Cafe nearby, I'm still trying to figure out what this is. This massive thing here. If this is a torpedo or some kind of a missile, which is apropos because Arsenale is their arms and armory, or at least the former arms and armory of the Naval, and the Naval Military Academy is just nearby. Civilians aren't allowed to go there. So, as a closer for our visit to the Venice Biennale, wonderful. If you have the time, I highly recommend you, maybe you might want to get a ticket not just for the day. I believe they have a ticket for multiple entries, like a 3-day one, which you can do if you're here for much longer. You can come in and out of the show at your leisure and take it all in, which ideally is probably what I would do, so that I would have more time to see each and every country and really absorb what it is they're trying to say, the narratives that they're trying to tell, because art is all about narratives, and every country, every culture has its own narrative. As with the Philippine Pavilion, it was using song and language to tell our story, oral tradition, through our weaves, which are have been gaining prominence back home. The weaves by our indigenous peoples, which need to honestly have more exposure, and I would love it if people would buy more of our indigenous textiles and know more about them. So It's been today was an unusually sunny day in Venice for November, and we're very lucky we were able to come here. Whether you are a lover of art, an art buyer, a curator, or an artist yourself, there's definitely something to see here at the Venice Biennale. In terms of education, it covers everything from art to architecture to cinema, theater, music, performance, and art education, art history. So all in all, it's great for teachers to expose their students more to art from all over the world. It's a truly global experience, and you get to be in one of the most beautiful, magical cities in the entire world. Mind you, there's going to be a lot of walking because there are several, how should I say, like rooms or large halls, large warehouses. I think it used to have the arms and the armory, and you will have to do a lot of walking. They do have golf carts that can take you from one hall to another. So if you have seniors with you or small children, don't worry, I think you're pretty much covered. It's about 25 euros per adult. I think you have special discounts for students, seniors, and families as well. And as I mentioned, we had a nice cappuccino, and I had prosecco at the nearby Bombard Cafe. Toilets could use a lot of work for such a big place. You think they'd fix their toilets by now, and I think that's something that they need to work on, considering how many people come to the show every year. But all in all, a must-see. If you are in Venice when this is on, I think this has been on since April, and it's on for a few months, but they change the schedule every few months. Please do come and see it, and make sure Venice, again, is not a large city, but it is a walking city. So, bring your boots, because boots were made for walking. And, and then have an Aperol Spritz if you need to, whatever gets you through the day. And this has been your Food Diwata and your food correspondent. And today, your art correspondent.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Sabado Nights with Steve Lou, with our pretty correspondent, Katya Angara, hosting the show.